The first question is, why won't Representative Barney Frank bring H.R. 1207 to the House floor by itself instead of an overall financial reform? And does the delay pose a threat to the bill to be watered down? There's a microphone right here.
Is it mine?
Well, he's not going to bring it up as a separate vote as of now, mainly because that's not the way Washington works. If they have something good going on where there are a lot of people support it, they want to make use of it and stretch its value, and that is put it on with some bad stuff and get some of the bad stuff, try to get people to vote for it. That's part of it. But I haven't given up on that. I'm going to still work hard on trying to get him to bring that up to the floor. I may be successful, I may not. The odds of it getting watered down, probably not too much. We don't know what the Senate will do. If we brought it to the floor this week and it passed, we could bring it up under suspension. I don't think there'd be 30 people vote against it. I mean, the momentum is so strong. But the Senate only has about 30 people co-sponsoring, and it's not moving as quickly. So it just is that bills like this are more likely to get passed by being attached to something else, which is messy. There's no doubt about it. But I don't think Barney is really going to dilute it. There's only one thing I've agreed to that is reasonable, because it's the only way I got the coalition to come together. I think bringing people together, once again, approaching it in the manner that I've spoken, is remarkable, in that we had all the Republicans and 115 Democrats sign on to this bill. And but if I'd have said it was to, end the Fed, they're not ready for that. Or if I would say, okay, the Congress is going to take over the responsibility of the Federal Open Market Committee, that is, we're going to write down how much money to print and what the interest rates should be. It's not that I want that to happen, but I don't want either group to have it. I want the market to handle those things. So, but the agreement is that we will not. The bill was not meant to take over monetary policy. My theory is, get the books open, and the next thing to happen will be Federal Reserve will be ended. Yeah.
Master of persistence is Ron Paul. 26 years, and we finally have a hearing. So I don't think Ron anytime soon is going to give up on this fight. He's going to keep going. But I think he would agree the reason why this hearing occurred today after 26 years is because of you. We're looking at the reason why this happened, and that's why events like this tonight in Northrop are so important, because it energizes people, it gets you talking, you go back to work, you call your sister, you tell people that you know about this story. And so we want to encourage you tonight, and anyone who's on the internet tonight, to tell the story. Continue to call your congressman, call your senator, ask them, why haven't you signed up yet? Why aren't you a co-sponsor? The more you put the pressure on, we can actually see this go through the House and the Senate and have a signature by the President and be done this year. I think it's possible, but you have to keep on the heat.
This addresses the criticism that the bill also often receives. Please explain why auditing the Fed will not eliminate Fed independence. Why auditing the Fed will not eliminate Fed independence.
Why auditing the Fed will not, and it's independent, because that's what they argue that it will. Because it's not designed to do that. It's only to open up the books. They're arguing that they don't want to politicize, but it is already severely politicized. It's politicized by Goldman Sachs and by the President. It's been known for years. The whole thing is, like I mentioned earlier, that it isn't designed for Congress to take over the FOMC. And it's politicized by the Congress, and they've been doing it for years, and they've been pleased with it, because we run up the deficits, then we don't worry about them, we send them over to the Fed, and the Fed monetizes them and prints them. So as long as the Fed was working out pretty well, it was more tolerated, but now we're in trouble, and fortunately we can use that to go and look at the Fed. But no, that bill wouldn't be enough to to tell them exactly what to do. They're using that as an argument because they don't want us to know what they're doing.
That question came up over and over and over again in committee today, and that's the best argument and the best critique that the other side has. But yet, as Ron said, all this is pulling back the curtain, taking a look at the books, who are the loans made to, what's the collateral, what's going on here, how much money is really obligated on their balance sheet, who's it going to? We deserve to know, because ultimately we're hung with this obligation. Why in America wouldn't you have transparency? Remember, these are the people who have the license to print money. When you have the license to print money, and you do so, then the American people who have to pay those bills should at least, I think, get to know some of the facts behind it. It only makes sense. And I think this organization would have remained shrouded in secrecy but for the extraordinary actions they took beginning in March of 2008. From the inception of the Fed until March of 2008, I asked this question today. I said, has the Fed ever before opened its discount window? In other words, they lend really cheap money. Have they ever opened up their window to a private company, to a private investment bank, Goldman Sachs, before? And the answer was no, by the men from the Federal Reserve. They said, no, we have never done that. Well, think of that. A private business gets to come up, knock on the Fed window, and say, hey, I want cheap money. Oh, because I like you so much, you're getting cheap money. Well, don't you think maybe all of us should have that advantage to go to the Fed? Or is it just the truth that we really like them? These are the kind of questions that are begging to be answered. And I'll tell you, we lived through this. We lived through the bailout. We lived through, and it would always happen on Friday night, wouldn't it? It would happen on Friday night. We'd go back to our district. We'd come back Monday and find out, oh, they just committed $29 billion of your money to Bear Stearns. Oh, they just committed $200 billion to Freddie and Fannie. Oh, they just committed, another weekend, another couple $100 billion. I mean, that's what this was going like, and we were getting very nervous and very scared. Because this is real money, it's a lot of it, and for college students, this is now your burden, and this is unfair. And so we put our foot down as much as we could to say, no, there weren't enough of us. But we tried, and it was on both sides of the aisle. We tried to stop this from going through, and we're going to keep trying. As far as I'm concerned, all the money that's been let out that hasn't been spent yet, reel it back in. Don't spend one